Hey everyone, it's Trish and I'm back again for Holiday Series Day number 8. Today I'm starting out with a piece of white scratch paper. I believe this is Neenah 65-pound cardstock in bright white, but I'll be sure to put the link down below. Anyways, I'm starting out with the Simon Says stamp postage edge stamp die set. I really love this set. I didn't come across it till just recently and I love it. I will be probably using this on quite a few more cards here soon. So I've cut my piece out of that. This is going to be the front of my card, and what I've done is I've taken Tim Holtz Distress ink in tumbled glass, and I'm using my mini ink blending tool, and I'm really coming in from the edges to really keep it dark on the edges, and then I'm going to eventually be working my way towards the center of the card to get this nice light blue background. But I really want to focus on the centers and then just working my way towards the center of the card so that the edges are nice and dark and the center's pretty light. So once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and move on to coloring a few other pieces. Back on day 3 of the holiday series, I created a die cut sequence backing card, and I used the layered tree die from Simon Says Stamp. And what I did was I saved all the die cuts from there because I was using the negative space on the card. So I really wanted to not just throw it away, but go ahead and use those pieces. So what I'm doing is I'm coloring each of the pieces of the tree. I'm starting out with mustard seed for the star, and then I'm going to be moving to mowed lawn for each of the pieces of the actual branches of the tree. And I'm going to go in after I've covered them entirely with mowed lawn with a little bit of peeled paint. Once I finish the branches, I'm moving on to the actual stem or base of the tree, and I'm just totally coating that up with some gathered twigs, the brown color of the Distress inks. I could color it with anything else, but I really wanted to keep all of the colors that I'm using on the tree to all be from Distress ink. So once everything has been dried, I'm going ahead and just laying out exactly where I want the tree to be on this center postage blue panel. And this is basically just a spacing thing so that I can see exactly where I want the sentiment to be, because originally I had a really long sentiment planned out, but it didn't quite look good or work out how I planned towards the bottom of the tree. So I went with the season greetings that comes from the Simon Says Stamp Peace on Earth stamp set, and I really like this stamp, and I like how it's curved. It really fills in that bottom piece of this blue panel. It works out really nicely. So once I've decided on the stamp set, I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss this. So I'm going to be taking some Versamark ink and inking up the stamp, and then I'm going to be heat embossing it with some Ranger Liquid Platinum embossing powder, which is a nice in-between between silver and gold. It's not as bright as silver, but it's nice and warm like a gold. I don't know, there's just a really nice happy medium to it. But before I go ahead and stamp it, I'm going to test out and make sure my panel is okay to emboss on. And this is something that I've learned from Christina Werner, is that these inks tend to take a little while to dry, and so you want to be sure that you test out the area before you emboss on it, because if not, then after you stamp and you sprinkle on the embossing powder, the embossing powder is going to cling to the whole panel, and it's just a really big pain in the butt. And even though I know this, sometimes I still don't check, and then it causes just a lot of frustration. So go ahead and check your panel with a little bit of embossing powder just to make sure that it is dry and not all of the embossing powder will stick to it. And then I went ahead and used my EK Success anti-static powder tool just to be sure that none of that extra embossing powder clung to any areas that I didn't want it to. And then I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle on the liquid platinum embossing powder, and you see there it's just really nice. I don't have any extra embossing powder attached where I don't want it. And if you did, you would just take a really dry paintbrush and just brush it off the areas that it clung to. So then I went ahead and heat set that, and I'm going to move ahead to assembling the rest of my card. I'm just taking some basic Tombow tape runner and I'm applying that onto the back of this blue panel, and I'm attaching it onto a white card base. Originally I was thinking about going with craft, but because I'm obsessed with craft and use it on just about every card, I thought it'd be nice to just have a nice stark white, and I really like how that blue panel contrasts with the white and just really pops. So this white paper is some Simon Says stamp 120-pound heavy-duty cardstock. This is what I use to color my Copic with my Copics. I also like to use this when I'm making a one-layer card because it is so super sturdy. So that is what I'm using for this card base, since the blue panel is not very sturdy because it's 65-pound cardstock. So I wanted something just nice and solid. So then I'm just going to go ahead and attach my tree onto the blue panel. I'm just using some Tombow Mono Multi-Glue and figuring out exactly how I want it to lay down before I make the final step and glue it down permanently. With the star though, I felt like I really wanted it to kind of stand out, and so I'm using just some foam tape, a dimensional, and attaching that to the top of my tree. And thinking about it now, I really didn't have to go super crazy with the mustard seed ink, because in the end you will see that I'm using some stickles on top of it just to add a little bit more shine. So the stickles pretty much coats the whole thing, but I am glad that I went ahead and used the ink so that if there was any spacing in the stickles like I had, it was still that goldeny yellow color. So I'm just using a little bit of Tombow Mono Multi-Glue to attach the pieces onto the tree. And once I've done that, I'm going in with the stickles, as I mentioned, and I'm using the goldenrod to just totally coat the star. Like I said, I really want the star to stand out on this card, and so that's why I'm taking the time to go ahead and coat the whole star with these sparkly stickles. To finish off the sparkly Christmas feel, I'm going in with my clear Wink of Stella glitter brush pen, and I'm just coating all of the green panels with this. I really like the clear Wink of Stella because it can be used on any color, and it looks really nice, and that happens to be the only color that I have in my stash. Actually, I've never expanded into the colored ones, although I've heard they're fabulous. I like how versatile the clear one is, and so that's why I just kind of keep stocking up on that one specifically. Once I finish going over all of the green panels, you'll see me go in with some red bling or gems, and I'm just adding a few to the tree to make it look like it has some ornaments and it isn't so plain. And that completes my card for today. I really like using that extra piece because I use the negative for day 3, so I like not wasting it and going ahead and coming up with a different idea for the actual die cut pieces that came from that. I hope you guys enjoyed this card. Be sure to check out the description box below with links to all the products used on this card, and I'll see you guys in the next holiday series video.